Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Sunday Live. How is everybody doing today? It has been a very interesting past few days, past few weeks, really. I've been gone for a little bit, so hello, I've missed everybody. I was out of town for the Rebels of Disclosure conference in Grafton, Illinois, which was fantastic. And if you were interested, you could get a copy of that live stream replay if you would like on Journey to Truth.online. So I've got some interesting things going on here and some updates for you guys. Let me switch some settings real quick. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. And say hello to everybody who is here live and for those who are watching the replay. We've had a lot of crazy solar energies going on, massive solar energies. So I'm going to be diving into that as well as what's going on in some of these underground facilities. I was able to remote view 2 different locations before I hopped on this live stream and got some interesting information. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys. And I'm going to take this thing off the bottom of my screen because it's distracting me. How's everybody doing? Okay, loud and clear. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I missed everyone, and I'll be back next Sunday for some for live updates as well. Man, so how's everybody feeling? So we've had a huge uptick in solar energies, and my last post was actually about what the Alliance has been referring to as the Black Dahlia. And the Black Dahlia has to do with a few things, but it was kind of like this new phase that we are going into, and it has a lot to do with the solar energies. I believe also some blackouts. They said that blackouts aren't inevitable, not to be afraid of that. But these solar energies, really interestingly enough, NASA and some other outlets have been posting kind of warning about these solar energies. So now it's kind of like in the mainstream media, and it's like catching attention. And these solar energies are part of how we ascend the planet. That is a big part of how we wake up. That activates our DNA. That helps decalcify the pineal gland. It helps expose the shadows because we are, after all, we are beings of light. And the sun is a huge conscious portal / being of light. And so that energy we are receiving from the sun is a big key to this whole thing. And that's going to help shake up the darkness that's been running this planet and running rampant on this planet, because in these lighter times, as the frequency raises, they cannot exist. It cannot exist here. So it's all being pushed up to the surface. And I'm sure you guys are probably feeling symptoms. Let me know in the comments if you guys are feeling symptoms from this. Personally, I've been very tired. My sleeping schedule has been different since returning. I was super stoked because in moving to Sedona, I was starting to just wake up automatically bright and early. I'd go to bed early. I was sleeping great. And since I got back from the conference and all of these solar energies are hitting us, we had 2 X-class flares hit during the Rebels of Disclosure conference, which was a couple of weeks ago. And then we've got some new ones that have been coming out over, I think, last night and the night before, like a bunch of them. The notifications have been going crazy. But since I got back, I've been so exhausted. And then kind of like bursts of energy too, but just dealing with a lot of symptoms. Can't sleep, dizzy, don't want to eat. Yeah. And there could be pains and other things that come up as well. Dizziness, I could see that. Sleeplessness, sleeping too much, or not too much, but a lot of sleeping. Our bodies and our energetic fields, they were showing me the toroidal field earlier while I was taking a shower. Those are undergoing a lot of changes. Headaches for sure. I've been having that as well too. And that can also bring up pains, but it's also bringing out people's shadows. So there's a very like mental and spiritual aspect to this, as well as the physical things you're going to experience. So I wanted to actually share dive into a little bit of the solar information here for a minute. Thought it was super interesting. So let me share. Or maybe I can just add a file. I'm going to try doing this a little bit different. Then I don't have to share like my whole screen with you guys. Let's see. Here we are. Let's see how this works. Cool. Okay. So this was from a little bit ago, not too long ago, but earlier this week, I think. Even NASA talking about it. NASA warns terrifying blackouts could hit Earth this week. Don't listen to the terrifying part. Like, I think it's going to be just fine. I've been seeing an uptick in fear porn being spread throughout these news outlets as well. One's about tsunamis, and I sent Tyler a couple of them. Just like really ridiculous things. I didn't share them on here. I didn't send them to my computer, but let me see if I can just find them really fast. I was like, what is going on? They're just trying to shed this fear porn. So, okay, one, scientists warn Earth could be flung out of orbit, leaving humans to freeze to death. That was also from Daily Mail. Like, come on. Relax. So don't listen to the fear porn. Another one, at least 3 city-killing asteroids could strike Earth within weeks. It's funny because a lot of the reactions are people just laughing at it. But yeah, I'm seeing an uptick in kind of this fear porn, so just be mindful of that. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting that even NASA, and I saw this on other outlets as well, are kind of, these solar energies are drawing their attention, and they're talking about these blackouts, which again, the Alliance was talking about recently in one of my last videos, that blackouts are inevitable, and we're entering into this new phase, an uptick in solar energies, an uptick in explosive progress and awakening. So they told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, because I put this in my presentation for Rebels of Disclosure, evidence of the flash will be seen everywhere. Solar flares and explosive progress in awakening. And this was from my presentation since yesterday at that time, which would have been a couple of weeks back. 2+ major X-class flares incoming, and then we just had a bunch more activity. Right now we're in an extreme, what they're labeling a severe magnetic storm. So I'm going to share another image here. Hopefully you guys can see it. That might be kind of hard to see. But basically, if you can also screenshot it if you would like and kind of zoom in. But basically it's saying this is up to date June 1st space weather. Severe G4 geomagnetic storm threshold was reached at 8 o'clock UTC June 1st. So that's today. So we're getting hit, like we're getting slammed right now. An incoming CME with a solar wind speed above 1000 km-s was detected. A geomagnetic storm warning is now in effect. A moderate S2 radiation storm is in progress. So we just have a lot going on. And so there's like these 2 sunspots from my awareness. And also, I don't know all of the lingo of the solar weather. So I'll share a link in the description right after this if you guys would like to kind of learn more of the science behind it. But from my understanding and what was shared with me yesterday, so there's 2 sunspots that are basically aligned facing the Earth right now, 2 different sunspots, and they both projected solar flares out of them, and we're getting hit with them basically like right now, and more incoming. So that's basically what's going on right now with that. Let me see if I have any other pictures that I wanted to share. There was somebody posted on Facebook. I liked the post that described it pretty well, so I'll share that real quick and read it to you guys. Okay, severe geomagnetic storm watch, a major solar flare M8.02 on May 31st hurled a CME straight toward Earth. Severe geomagnetic storms and widespread auroras are possible when the CME arrives on June 1st or 2nd. CME arrival at Earth is anticipated, and a G4 watch is now in effect, which since this was posted, we are in the severe G4. So that's just like the classification. I think it goes up to 5. So we're like, and it could still go up to 5. So we're just in a very extreme, to summarize all of that, we're in a very extreme solar storm right now. CME arrival later on June 1st could lead to G3 with G4 potential, and it's in G4. And yeah, so we can see that coming, more effects from that coming. And man, like just kind of reflecting over the conference too, we did an activation at Cahokia Mounds, and there was a lot of solar energies in the 2 X-class flares that happened over that. And since that, just over the last couple of weeks, I am just really seeing an uptick in what is deep within you being pushed out from these solar energies and the increasing light and increasing frequency, to where we have to look at it, our own stuff. I'm talking about our own stuff as well as in the collective. We have to look at it, make sure that we are not projecting our own fears, insecurities, and judgments onto other people. Take responsibility for ourselves, for our frequency, for our own spiritual hygiene. Discernment, super important, as well as spiritual hygiene, because like I said, these energies and the increase in frequency are shaking out all of the shadows. So it's a good time to do like transmutation meditations and activations and things like that. Like using the violet flame is a very potent tool for transmutation and transformation, just to help transform these. You may feel emotions coming up that you didn't even know that you had, fears coming up you didn't even know that you had, just unresolved stuff and baggage that's being pushed out to the forefront. And, you know, the Alliance has talked a lot about masks coming off, and that was in one of the recent updates too. Really, masks coming off. So just reflecting on that, people are starting to show their true colors, but then we also people are just getting triggered as well. So, you know, we're also human. We're dealing with this 3-dimensional space, this dense reality, and we may get triggered. We may be wrong sometimes, and that's okay. So I think it's just a good time to reflect, not judge other people too harshly. If you have an issue with them, or if you have an issue, just talk it out and bring it up to the surface. Be transparent, and then it doesn't have any weight over you anymore. So if you're feeling just emotions or even conflict arising, that's probably why. Let me check on the false light, fake gurus being exposed as well. People are just starting to show their true colors, and it's really holding up a mirror. Again, we need to really take time to look in the mirror also and reflect, and just be diligent in that. But yeah, masks are coming off. And there was an interesting post from Donald Trump that I'm going to share with you guys in a little bit. Because once we move on, I want to talk about some of these underground facilities. And I'm seeing a lot of, hold on, before we move on to that, let me just check the comments real quick. There's no more hiding. Exactly. It's all being pushed out to the surface. And we've like signed up for kind of soul contracts to have other people maybe trigger us, or to undergo certain things to help bring out our stuff to be looked at, transmuted, and transcended, as well as in the collective and on the grand stage. No more hiding. Exactly. The light is literally shining on every corner right now and exposing everything. Thank you. I loved that violet flame meditation you shared. I've got a couple of violet flame meditations on my channel. If you look up Lily Nova Violet Flame, that is literally has saved me. If you really want to go through a massive transformation, I would do like a violet flame meditation like each day for like a week or two. Even just doing it for a couple of days could be very profound. Auroras expected to be seen across some states this week. And that's a great point. Lots of downloads with these solar flares and this increase in light and frequency. We can also expect an increase in individual contact experiences. I'm picking up on as well, but also accessing more of your information, your wisdom, your higher self downloads information, because that all of the light is encoded with information, upgrades, and activations. So we're like in the middle of it right now. So much coming up and out for me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm going to address that in a minute. With the cloning, what Trump shared about the cloning. Very interesting. Okay. Joint pains, ringing ears, not sleeping. Yeah. So just, I would say right now is a big time to practice self-care, self-reflection, energy work, transmutation. And yeah, really self-care. I did. Okay. Are we going to talk about that right now? Okay. Let's talk about it right now. So I'll go ahead and share. Actually, I have the post with me. So we're going to talk about Trump and what he shared real quick. Moving along. Interesting. So, and if you guys recall, and I'm going to start like typing my notes. I was writing all my updates and stuff in, I don't know where my normal background went. Oh, well, typing it up so I can kind of like look for keywords and things and keep track of it better. But I know recently, so it had to have been either in my last update or my last live stream or something like that. But the Alliance was talking about, they've been hinting at cloning facilities and disclosures coming out on cloning. And they showed me that they were targeting these cloning facilities, and they've actually been talking about this for a while. And they were going to go and start taking these cloning facilities out. And there was going to be disclosure on cloning. So cloning's been like hush hush since we cloned the lamb, I believe, and is it Dolly I can't remember exactly, but that happened in the 80s or 90s, I think, and then it was just kind of hush hush, like we did it, we cloned an animal, and then nobody talked about it anymore. It was kind of swept under the rug. Do you think they stopped doing that? No, of course not. So Trump shared on Truth Social this post that says, "There is no Joe Biden. Executed in 2020. Biden clones and doubles and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see." Wow. So he shared this on Truth Social. He just said, cloning's a thing. Joe Biden's been gone. That's not the real one. You're seeing a mask. And these soulless entities are what you see. I've seen this, the visual of kind of like they're like just like puppets, really. But so he just disclosed cloning, and that what we've been seeing is not the real Joe Biden. It's a fake. I think I had one more image. This was a Journey to Truth, shared this on Instagram. President Trump, so this is on X. President Trump just shared a post that says, "There is no Joe Biden, executed in 2020. Biden clones and doubles." Yeah, very, very interesting. So that's huge. That's a huge disclosure. That's massive. And like I said, the Alliance has been sharing that cloning's been coming up, and there's going to be disclosure on that, and they're going after these facilities so they can't keep propping up these politicians and propping up these people. Masks coming off again. Masks coming off. So very interesting. And let's see what else. Do we want to move on to the underground bases now? Let me look at my so the underground bases, what I'm seeing coming up a lot is super soldier information and disclosure, cloning, and the underground bases, and a lot of this technology. So one of the last updates also from the Alliance, they said reverse engineered technology coming to the surface, cover-ups. Keep an eye out for hints and slow drip disclosures or new discoveries. It is a process. So we're seeing a lot of that coming up as well. And there was one that crap, I didn't save it, but they're just nonchalantly rolling out all of this kind of advanced tech. Like they've been talking about scientific articles going around about how they're talking about teleporting a human, how they're talking about the mind. They think the mind or consciousness is capable of time travel. So time travel has been coming up more. I did save this one that I just saw yesterday that I thought was interesting. The black hole deal is super interesting. Scientists say many black holes could be inside your home. So just all of this, kind of this very advanced stuff is starting to come out in kind of slow drips in this technology as well. Now I'm going to share China coming out. This was just recent. China coming out just took the first step toward creating real-life super soldiers by injecting human cells with tardigrade DNA. Okay. So they're talking about it openly. Super soldiers, as most of you probably know, have been used in these. They've been doing this for a long time. Probably since the 40s. Think of Captain America. Now, I haven't been watching like Marvel or anything like that because I got behind, and then I'm like, well, I have like 20 movies to catch up on if I want to watch it in order. Yeah, the Diddy trial is a whole other thing too, for sure. There's a lot coming out, and maybe I'll touch on that here in a minute. That's going to be massive as well. Yeah, that's funny because that's literally like what I've been saying. A domino effect. That's what they keep telling me too. It's a domino effect. Like one thing happens and then it leads to another thing, and it's just like doom, 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 doom. Order of operations. So they've been doing this for a long time. And if you think of Captain America, he's like the first super soldier. And I believe that happened in the 40s in that film. He's a super soldier. The Marvel movies really depict this, but they've been doing this. If you think of like these secret space programs, they've been doing this for a very, very long time. So it's interesting that it's now starting to kind of come out in the open. I had one other thing I wanted to share with you guys. It was from a movie I just recently watched that shares some disclosure on this as well. This is a post from Dr. Sala. The movie The Gorge. I actually just watched this last week or the week before. It's a really good movie. If you don't want it to be ruined or know the ending, please stop listening for a second. But it has some big disclosure in it, so I'll go ahead and read this post. I watched The Gorge movie last night, which is soft disclosure of super soldier programs dating back to the World War II era. It shows how the super soldiers were bioengineered by blending human genetics with animal and plant DNA. Significantly, The Gorge shows how the super soldier program was corporatized, with governments taking a back seat as corporations stepped in to run these programs in total secrecy. The Gorge also shows the utter ruthlessness with which corporations act towards people and personnel involved in highly classified programs. Unlike the U.S. military, which has a uniform code of military justice that regulates military behavior to some extent, Corporations have nothing like that to restrain cruelty, excessive violence, etc. Finally, while the East European location is not revealed, the gorge actually depicts the underground bases in Ukraine where super soldiers were bioengineered and have been used in combat against the Russian military. So that's his view on it. I found that pretty interesting. And yeah, it's a really good movie. Recommend you guys watch it. But yeah, I just find that really interesting. The Alliance has been sharing the cloning, the hybridization programs. These underground facilities are really coming up. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch gears over to. I'm going to just read from my notes, from my Alliance updates that I've been getting, and this has a lot to do with moving into the underground facilities. And then I remote viewed 2 locations, both in Missouri, because I was just there. Then I'll share with you guys what I saw. Some of it is going to get a little dark, so just a trigger warning, but it has to be exposed. One other comment on the solar energies real quick, I forgot to mention. So they recently told me that big revelations, like huge revelations, are coming forward. And they were mentioning solar energies and symptoms. Blackouts are inevitable. But huge revelations. And they showed me recently that these energies are going to create just a huge new wave in awakening. And a new wave of star seeds coming online. And lots more revelations. So, and if you're paying attention, like with the Donald Trump cloning thing and the super soldier disclosure, a lot of hype over the underground bases. That's a big, like I just saw Candace Owens, and they also said, pay attention to Candace Owens because she's sharing a lot of truth right now. She's playing an important role. I haven't been watching any of her stuff. I've been meaning to go look at some of her stuff, but I did just receive an email notification that she just posted a recent video on underground bases. So this is coming into the mainstream now, which is fantastic. That's great. So revelations happening within, without. Masks coming off. Okay, so at 7 a.m. the other day, they told me that I had a terabyte of information being downloaded. And then I saw explosions of underground facilities. And then I was sensing stolen technology. And then I heard golden age. So I was seeing, I saw this one night as I was going to sleep. And then I saw it again in the morning, really highlighting the importance. I was seeing explosions. Like some of these underground facilities are actually being destroyed. And yeah, like they're really going after them right now. And you're seeing evidence of that with it becoming more in the spotlight. Other creators are doing content on this right now too. It's like it's in the air right now because it's time for it to come to the surface. Methods of control are dissolving. Tech and spells. Time travel tech being disabled. So I was picking up on Cabal time travel tech being disabled, which would be great because we've been in this timeline war and they've been messing with it. And it's been kind of a back and forth between the white hats and the dark hats, etc. So they were saying that time travel tech is being disabled. Trafficking rings, disclosed locations. And I believe this has to do with, this aligns and parallels what's going on with the Diddy trials. I think they're getting more information than what they are even disclosing on that. And it's, again, I'm seeing the domino effect. Like one person shares this bit of information and then they discover this, and they discover this. And then they're kind of going on like a hunting party, if you will, for all of these underground trafficking rings and all of these trafficking rings. That's what they seem to be focusing on right now, or a big part of what they're focusing on. Anheuser-Busch Stadium, elite trafficking ring underneath. And I'll go more into that because I remote viewed that. But they said, I asked, should I remote view it? And they said, search your memory. You were there. While in St. Louis. That kind of gave me chills. So while I was in St. Louis for the Rebels of Disclosure conference, which was May 12th through the 14th, 15th, 16th. But then I stayed for an additional week. I knew that I was on mission while I was out there. I couldn't remember really, I couldn't remember dreams. I was out at night and I just would wake up and I knew that I was just doing something super important, but I had no memory of it. But I would get kind of like a couple little like intel drops. They said, they mentioned a dark magician in St. Louis and specific people. They didn't say names that I guess I was maybe in the astral as I was sleeping. I was going out and investigating or gathering information or intel on some of these locations and doing, who knows what. But I was definitely on mission while I was out there, and there was a lot going on. So I'll share more on that in a minute. But yeah, they said, search your memory. You were there. And they also mentioned the big, beautiful bill, paving the way for things, big revelations coming forward, remote viewing, underground bases, hybrid stuff, genetic. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the Ozarks. So right before this, I remote viewed the Ozarks. Have you guys heard of the Lake of the Ozarks? It's in Missouri. Ozark, I'll share a picture here. Where'd my picture go? The Lake of the Ozarks. So you guys know the show. Ozarks is, I'll just go ahead and share my screen for this one then. Picture. Lake of the Ozarks. So that show, Ozark, is based off of the Lake of the Ozarks. Massive man-made lake. Massive. There's some stuff going on there. And I went there for one night with Tyler from Journey to Truth podcast. And I was picking up on some stuff. We went over this little bridge here. Of course, it doesn't. Like, I just want to zoom in on this one picture. So there's a bridge here that you go over. And I started picking up on some stuff. A lot of genetic testing, experimentation. And Tyler was saying how every time he goes down there, it reminds him of like the Jurassic Park theme song. And because it's like rolling hills, these little mountains, and then like open fields. And it's a very like, it can be a very remote area. It's kind of like a small town, but it's very busy. Like, it's a big party place. Like, everybody goes there to party. It's popular in that way. So I'll start going through what I saw. I see underwater, and I heard they are hiding something. Whenever we were going over that bridge, I actually saw a submarine underwater, some like maybe government operatives or something in a submarine under the water there. This is a massive lake too, very, very massive. And then, but then I saw underground bases, extensive networks underneath the lake. So they're hiding something like under the water, but then also I saw a huge network of bases connecting to other bases, maybe even potentially across the country. And then I was picking up on underground mini labs, underground labs. I was seeing labs like the white lab coats, testing. I heard hidden technology. Hopefully, am I still sharing my screen? I hope not. Okay, no. Hybridization programs. And I was seeing raptor-like creatures, like literally like dinosaurs. So I thought it was really interesting that Tyler like thinks of the Jurassic Park theme song whenever he goes to like the Ozarks, because that's very much the vibe. And we pick up information from the quantum field all around us. That's why I like going on site to these locations, and then I'll kind of remote view. I'll get messages about it, and I'm kind of like downloading information from the quantum field whenever I go to these places. So that's why I'm focusing on these two places, because I was just there. And I think it's a big part. It's a really, really big part. You don't hear about Missouri too much, but there's a lot going on in Missouri underground. It has one of the most extensive cavern systems in the country. A lot of corruption going on there as well. So I was seeing like raptor, like literally like dinosaur type creatures. And then I saw eggs and incubators, splicing genes, also plant experiments too, which reminds me of the Gorge movie, which I was just sharing about. They were creating super soldiers by splicing animal DNA and plant DNA with humans. But I was seeing like them creating kind of like these monsters and almost like dinosaur type things. I asked, what is the goal to create monsters? Weapons. Playing God. And then I was also picking up on hidden technology, portals. I was picking up, okay, so where do these portals go? Mars, I picked up on. The Andromeda Galaxy I picked up on. And the Andromeda Galaxy has been coming up a lot lately. I also did a psychic dive into some of these space arcs that have recently been talked about that have been moving under the ocean. And I picked up on a Stargate portal going to the Andromeda Galaxy. And what's interesting is in the film, They Live, if you guys have seen that, it's a good movie from the 80s. So much disclosure in that movie. They depict, I'll share my screen real quick to show you guys, but they depict, there's like all of these beings on the planet that are controlling everything. In the movie, They Live. But you can't tell that they aren't human. But whenever he has these glasses on, he can see them. So again, it's the masks. These people, these entities using masks to puppeteer around and control the planet in a discreet way. But it's becoming more and more obvious, especially as the solar energies come in, as more people awaken. It's becoming so obnoxiously obvious so that people can wake up and learn the truth about what's been going on. And they also depict subliminal messaging in there. Whenever he puts on the glasses, he can see what the subliminal messaging is. It depicts also them sending out frequencies for mind control. So this has a lot to do with mind control as well. MK Ultra experiments going on in these facilities and just in the public. But they show in one part where he goes, sorry if I'm ruining the movie, if you haven't seen the movie yet. He finds himself in an underground facility where these beings were. I was trying to find a picture of it. And so it's underground, and they're going through a Stargate to the Andromeda Galaxy. And I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, here's They Live. He puts on the glasses. He can see all of the stuff. He can see the beings, and they have these little watches that they teleport with. And they're not human. They're just there to control the planet, essentially. So I thought that was interesting. Andromeda Galaxy has been coming up a lot. Positive beings from Andromeda, but I feel like it's showing that there are negative beings from Andromeda too. And I've seen, sorry if I'm jumping around, but I've also seen that the darkness that we are experiencing here in this kind of negative AI situation, we'll say, has affected multiple galaxies. And I've seen this whenever it came in through Lyra with the negative reptilians who are apparently also controlled by this negative AI. It's like why was that allowed to happen? It felt like I got some messages about this a while back. But from it appeared like they were allowed to come through the Ring Nebula into our galaxy, into the Milky Way galaxy, and kind of all the darkness was put in this space to kind of trap it. And this is where the showdown is happening, literally on Earth, in this plane. showdown happening. But I thought that was interesting. I was seeing Andromeda Galaxy coming up there as well in some of the underground facilities at the Lake of the Ozarks. They are exchanging information through these portals. So in these underground facilities, I see hidden technology, portals leading to Mars, some Andromeda. And Andromeda feels like the elite. Like there's not portals to Andromeda maybe everywhere. This is like for the high of the high up. Like the elite class. And maybe there's just like one Andromeda Stargate or whatever. And then there's kind of all these other sorts of jump rooms and portals leading to Mars and all of these other places. But Andromeda felt like very like elite. Maybe that's a special access Stargate. They are exchanging information through these portals. And then I heard locals in the Ozarks. Locals are unaware they are being tested on too. And I heard shapeshifters. I asked, how are they being tested on? Behavioral, microbial, also using their DNA, genetic testing experiment. So I guess stealing their genetic information, probably kidnapping some of these people, mind wiping them. Mind control therapy, I heard. I see them doing something to the water at the lake, taking samples, putting things in the water, experiments, cover up. And the Lake of the Ozarks it's really a beautiful place. But this stuff has to be exposed, and this is happening like all over. So I'm not like downing the Lake of the Ozarks. And it's interesting because a lot of the it's a big party place. So it's a lot of drinking, probably a lot of drugs, you know, whenever you go for like holidays and stuff like that. Which, as you know, the drinking in that sort of like super party program, which I used to be in that program, invites in, you know, parasitic, darker entities, all of that. It's just, it kind of puts you out of your body. It takes, you don't have control over yourself whenever you are ingesting those sorts of things and getting belligerent and stuff like that. So it seems to be maybe a frequency that they're outputting there too. I asked, will this be exposed? And I heard on its way. And then it's funny because I was meditating and I looked back at my phone and the letter Q was on my phone. I didn't type it right after that. I also saw the local benevolent beings are unhappy with this. I see Sasquatch. I see portals opening and other things coming through. Humans and negative forces messing with things like messing with portal technology, messing with these interdimensional things and in these hybridization programs, creating creatures, stuff like that. So I did have an interaction with positive Sasquatch while I was the one night that I spent at the Lake of the Ozarks recently. And I literally, like I woke up and I felt them surrounding the condo where we were staying, like they were watching over us and protecting us. And then I saw a meeting of tribes between different Sasquatch clans. Like the benevolent beings, local beings are not happy with what's going on there. Okay, and then I'll go on to St. Louis. But I'm going to check the chat. Yes, exposure, disclosure. And this is probably happening all over the place, like in Michigan, the Great Lakes, in many mountains, even in Sedona, underground bases, lots of underground bases here. Utah just popped in my mind. Drugs are bad in the Ozark, Boston, Man region. Right, and that's like a program. Always watch the water. Yeah, they were showing me they were doing something to the water. That's just messed up. And I think they're doing that also in St. Louis. So St. Louis is on the river. I've been watching, Mark says, I've been watching Stargate SG-1 for the first time recently, and it feels very real to me. Very interesting. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. Never drink. Yeah, I quit drinking completely. The last time I had a drink, I actually was attacked immediately. And they were, my star family was like, just don't do it. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but for me, I have to really keep my channel clear. I just have to be very mindful. So yeah. Okay, so everybody good? We'll move on to St. Louis. Now this is going to get a little dark. I'm going to try, and this is, I believe, also linked to the Diddy files, or what's the Diddy trial, what's going on with that, and Epstein. St. Louis. Here is a picture of St. Louis. So we have the arch there. This is my hometown. I just moved from there March. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of darkness going on there. St. Louis almost feels like a kind of a, and there's a lot of beauty there too, so don't get me wrong. There's beauty there as well. There's positive and negative. Cahokia Mounds is right next to, you can literally see the arch from the top of Monk's Mound, which is the largest and most ancient city in all of North America. You don't really hear people talk about it. It's a powerhouse of a site, and it's connected to the Great Pyramids. It's connected to all of these other places and sacred sites all around the world. And that is literally, you can see the arch and see the city of St. Louis from the mound. It's very, very close. Technically, Cahokia Mounds is in Illinois, because on St. Louis, we're basically on the border of Illinois and Missouri. So it's I feel it's kind of a hidden gem, or it's kind of a hidden place. There's a lot more power there than we realize. And we've got all of the rivers, the Missouri, Mississippi rivers that converge. So it's a very powerful place, and it's kind of like in the center of the country almost. But then you have this arch right here. So that the arch is actually one of the intentions and uses, which it says it on its website, is that it is a weather modification device. And then you have right beyond, if you would zoom out more, the river is right there. So I know Tony Rodriguez did some work on this and did some study on this. I believe it's in his book, Beyond Sight, where he talks a lot about these structures and how they are positioned, and how the whole, like you see, the whole layout is very strategic. You know, everything's facing perfectly, the arch, and then that's facing the river. How they use that to, as like advanced technology, to put intention and frequencies and energy like into the water and through that. And essentially the arch is also a portal. So it's a weather manipulation device. It's a portal. It seems to be like an amplifier as well. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, there's St. Louis. All right. Whenever I remote viewed St. Louis, the Freemasons have control over that city, I heard in my head. And I saw the Freemason symbol. And I've noticed since going back, there's a lot of Freemason symbology all over the place there. Underground bases and facilities are abundant there. Trafficking hubs, rings underground. In St. Louis is known as the gateway to the West. So you kind of go through, if you're starting from like the East Coast or whatever, oftentimes you'll go through St. Louis to get out west. Dark magicians or a clan. I was picking up on a specific clan or maybe certain bloodline operating out of there. It is their home base. Now I heard bloodthirsty, and I saw children. Now this goes into the whole adrene. I don't even want to like say the full word, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Kidnapping and elite ped ring under Busch Stadium specifically. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to share Busch Stadium here. There's Busch Stadium. From the Busch family, Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light and Busch actually originates from St. Louis. They live in St. Louis. I don't know if maybe they come visit. They might, live in other places too, but that's their home base. Bud Light, Busch, all of that. And this is Busch Stadium. So there's an elite ped ring operating underneath Busch Stadium is what I was picking up on. And hopefully bringing this to the surface and exposing this helps shift it. I know I did a lot of grid work. I feel in some capacity while I was there in St. Louis, maybe I visited. They said, search your memory because you were there. And I didn't even want to fully tap into everything, what I saw, because I just got an eerie feeling. There's some very horrific things, probably children in cages and all of those nasty things going on under there. But I know I was doing positive, good work, and hopefully bringing this out to the surface. We can send love and light and healing to the children, clearing out this negativity, clearing out this darkness. And they were really highlighting like dark magic, it being a real big hub for dark magic. And then they use these children in the trafficking for rituals and all of that. Yeah, whenever I tuned into this, it was very much like ritualistic. I saw like a huge, almost like a code or like commandments, but for the dark. And it was like a huge kind of like monument underground in St. Louis, that some like things that they live by, but very inverted and very, very negative. And it was kind of like this memorial, or like this kind of like statue that almost looked like a scroll, a very tall one that listed all of these things. So it's very like ritualistic and dark, but hopefully by bringing this up and shining awareness on it, we're shining a light on it. It can help be cleared, transmuted, and exposed. And maybe this is connecting with the information that's coming out over Diddy and all of that, and what's to come forward. Because apparently this is a real big hub there. And I remember I did a session on somebody years ago, before I didn't really know much about the trafficking thing yet. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. It wasn't really, I didn't really know. And she volunteered. She used to volunteer at children's homes in St. Louis. She found me online, and she did a Star Origins Akashic record session with me. And she shared with me, yeah, she lived in St. Louis. She used to volunteer at these orphanages around St. Louis. And she said it made her so sick because children would just go missing all of the time. And she said it was just so corrupt, so sick. And that's mind-boggling. That was mind-boggling for me. And that was in St. Louis. But I'm sure that's happening all over in these orphanages. They're like trafficking hubs. And they don't have parents. They don't have families. So who's going to miss them? Unfortunately. Very disgusting behavior. Now, the Alliance has been targeting these underground trafficking rings right now. And I know that's also why I was kind of on mission while I was out there, and why I'm sharing my findings with you guys. They're targeting them right now. They're starting to take them out. Like I said, I was seeing explosions for some of these underground facilities being removed, being destroyed. And I want to share a story. While I was out in St. Louis, I woke up, like I said, like I wasn't remembering my dreams or anything. And I know I'm doing really deep work whenever I just can't remember anything, and I'm sleeping hard. I heard, like whenever I woke up, I heard like kind of an intel drop in the Alliance talking to me. They were talking about a specific dark magician. They said he is in St. Louis. They didn't give me the identity of this person, but it was like we were kind of like tracking him. This specific person, it was a male, a big, probably elite ring member or orchestrator in St. Louis. And it's like they were trafficking him. They were not trafficking him. They were targeting or just keeping an eye on him. And then after the conference, and we did a big, powerful activation at Kokia Mounds, where I was shown to focus on transmuting and clearing all the dark magic there, and all of that, and raising the frequency, helping to repair, heal the nodal point there, to help kind of reactivate and bring it back into light and harmony. A few days after that, I woke up and I heard almost like, I heard very clearly, target assimilated. And I knew they were talking about that specific dark magician in St. Louis. Now, I had to look up what assimilated meant. Assimilate means take in information, ideas, or culture, and understand fully. So what they were saying to me was he was caught. They got him. This was a few days after the conference. They got him. They took him in. He's caught. So very, very interesting. Hopefully we'll get some disclosure on that coming out into the open, but I feel it very much parallels what's going on with Diddy and also the solar energies coming in, the masks coming off, and these bases and underground facilities, the super soldier programs, the experimentation, the hybridization, all of that starting to be disclosed, as well as the trafficking. And yeah, that's basically all. That's what I got for you guys. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in. They're tracking them down across the USA. Literally, yeah, they're tracking them down. And it was interesting. I got to kind of hear that, like almost like I'm talking on a walkie-talkie with the Alliance. They're like, we got him. We got him. And that was a few days after the conference. So I think we did some really, really good work there. God's children are not for sale. Exactly. Somebody said baseball fields looks like the Freemason signs. Yeah, very interesting. So no dumbs cleaned starting. Well, yeah, that's what I was just saying. I saw literally like explosions, like some of them being taken out, physically being destroyed, and then more of them being exposed. They said it's coming. They said it is coming. So let me see if there were any other updates. Timeline shifts and time dilation. Anchoring in the highest timeline, also up to us. Daily intention and choice. Reverse engineered technology coming to the surface. Keep an eye out for hints and slow drip disclosures or new discoveries. Treaties over land, the Carolinas, Charlotte in particular. Important portals and nodes there and in surrounding areas. Light and grid workers get to work. So I did just tune into Charlotte again the other day for my Patreon monthly Q&A. And from mentioning it to you guys, like I saw kind of the local beings there, like local Sasquatch and elementals and stuff like that. That might sound kind of funny, but I've actually been in contact with the Carolina Sasquatch for a bit now, for the past like year. They were giving like a thumbs up, like the grid work and setting our intention. And since I brought that up originally, Charlotte being targeted by dark forces and some dark portals there. I saw like a plug going into it to helping close those dark portals and clear the land. And then Mark Sabas, during my presentation, because I talked about this a bit during the Alliance Updates portion of my presentation at Rebels of Disclosure, he said that's like the number 2 banking area for banking. Like Bank of America headquarters is there. Another really big bank headquarters is there. And so he said, like next to New York, it's like number 1 in banking. Charlotte is. So you can just imagine the corruption going on there with the 3D financial system in banks. So that makes sense that they would also be using those portals, like dark portals there in Charlotte specifically, with these dark, entities coming through or whatever, and controlling and manipulating the financial system to keep people kind of enslaved, basically. But yeah, whenever I checked in on it the other day after mentioning it to you guys and bringing it up to the surface and sending light and healing there, becoming aware of it, because awareness is a huge, huge part of it. They said like it's going good and we've been doing important work. So good job to anybody who has been sending light or doing grid work around that area, and keep it up, please. Sending love and light. This is how we win. Transcending duality. Drip, drip disclosure, order of operations, masks coming off, and time. There's one other thing that you guys might find interesting. Revelations of Jesus's life incoming. I heard clandestine, which means kept in secret or done secretly. So more information on Jesus's life and maybe the truth about Jesus and who he really was. Not kind of the corrupt narrative where they've taken some of it out or they've, twisted his words. The true teachings of Yeshua and Christ consciousness. more of that coming out. So maybe they'll discover some more scrolls, or something will come out of the archives from beneath the Vatican, since there's been a transition and there's now a new pope that could be working with the alliance potentially to help disclose some of this information that has been kept secret. And then I heard this information is already being encoded within our fields, our light bodies, our Merkabas. Again, the solar energy is helping to amplify that and turn our Merkabas online. Revelations of Atlantis, lost wisdom, technology, and history. Underground dumbs, cleaning out portal systems in the mountains. I saw negative reptilians, clearing them out, trafficking rings. More evidence coming out on these rings. When it is right, pieces are in place. Domino effect. And then I heard the Pope, huge marker in transition of the golden age, closing of one chapter, beginning of new. The Vatican has fallen. This new Pope will do good. He is different, not cut from the same cloth. But really, they said he is not the same breed, which sounded like they were insinuating the previous Pope was of a totally different species. Not sure. Cedar codes unlocked up for grabs. And that's what I got for you guys today. So buckle up. Lots of solar energies coming in. Practice self-care. And I'll just check on the chat here for a second. Kelly says, Lake of the Ozarks is in a different time. It seems so. They can get away with more there. I have relatives there for a couple generations. Yeah, that's really interesting. I felt like walking around town there, because I hadn't been there in so long, it literally felt like a pocket reality. Like they have their own reality. They're in their own bubble there. It was really interesting. I felt like, some strong, like positive, but also like there's definitely, what I just shared with you guys, there's experimentation on a mass level going on underground there. Will Pope Leo initiate disclosure to the masses? So a few years ago, I got messages from the Federation from the future, and they said the Pope and the Vatican will help bridge science and spirituality and help bring disclosures. And I think that they were talking about this new Pope, and they said that back in 2023. And from the messages that I just shared with you, it sounds like that is the case. They said he's going to do good. He's going to do good. He's going to trigger some good things to happen. So I'd love to look into that further. Maybe I can do a big deep dive on him soon. How would we activate our Merkaba? So focusing your intention on it. It is the, I don't have it looks like pyramid in an upside down pyramid. It's a light body. It is your chariot for ascension. It's also connected to your solar plexus, your center for power. That helps raise your consciousness, raise your frequency, helps you to activate and be able to heal yourself and heal others, a number of things. That's literally how we get up into the higher realms. And the solar energies coming in, and the solar flares we're like basically in the middle of a series of kind of like we're in the middle of the solar flash. Essentially, that's already starting to happen. But if you want to set your intention on that more, that would be fantastic. You can do some Merkaba meditations. I have a Merkaba meditation too. If you look up Lily Nova Merkaba on YouTube. Supposedly 711 more books of Bible found under Vatican. Total 777. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense since the Vatican is hiding so much underneath and in their, stores, that some of that would start coming out to the surface. Maybe as new discoveries, but really they've had it the whole time. Yeah, I'll do another activation or meditation soon. I did one with the pink flame on my Patreon recently, so maybe I'll share that. I agree. I think we need to do some more meditations. I'm going to be on Patreon tonight in a couple of hours, and I'll be doing a meditation there. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll do an activation soon. So I'm actually going to be back on YouTube live next Sunday as well. I was rotating between Patreon and YouTube, but I'll be back next Sunday, and I'll definitely I'll make a point to fit in an activation at the end of that with my singing bowls. Very important. And if you're here right now, please hit the like button and drop a comment. I also want to announce I have a Sedona Retreat coming up in October. So I was originally going to do 2 retreats in this fall, but I'm decided I'm just going to do one because I have some other conferences and things coming up. So if you are interested in coming to Sedona and doing this 4-night Sedona retreat, it'll be a spiritual transformation retreat. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And do a vortex tour. So I'll take you guys through some of these vortex spots, experience the magic of Sedona's energy vortexes. We'll do different sorts of meditations, different hikes. I'll have my singing bowls. I'll do activations, things like that. We'll be doing grid work. And then also to help you work on, whatever it is you personally would like to work on. Sedona is an amplifier. And you can really achieve healing and transcendental states of being very easily. It's a potent place for healing, transformation, transmutation, all of that. So I'm going to be doing another, and then also, like, if you look at some of these awesome photos, we catch like orbs, and we'll be doing sky watches. We had a ship fly over us at my last one back in April. We're going to be staying on site. Well, there's a few spots to stay on site, and then the rest will be off site, but we'll be meeting at the retreat house each day. This is the retreat house that I have rented. It has a jacuzzi and a pool. In October, the weather's still pretty nice there. So it'll be fantastic. So if you would like to reserve your spot to come with us this October, you can do so at lilynovacontact.com. There's also you can find more information on that, and there's a link in the video description. So that's October 20th through 24th. And spots usually fill up within a week or two. But please make sure before you put down your deposits to reserve your spot. Just don't do it willy-nilly. Make sure that you can come. And I think that's about it, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. XRP, I tuned into it the other day for my monthly Q&A on Patreon, and they said, like, it's doing good, just hold. I said, should people buy more? And they're like, if they want to, but it's still like going according to plan. From what I tuned into a few days ago. Thank you. All right, guys, please give this video a like, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on any of this. How are you feeling from these solar energies? What are your thoughts on these underground facilities? And let's also just set an intention together. Let's just pray. Pray for these trafficking rings and these cover-ups to be exposed. Let's set our intention together that we anchor our love, our light, to transcend this duality, to expose the shadows. We stand firm in our heart space, in our solar plexus, in our power. And just feel, maybe put your hand on your heart for a minute and feel your heart expanding. Send energy, love, and light into your heart. Fill it filling with love. And then send this love and light down deep into the earth, into the land, expanding out across your state, across the country, across the globe, across the oceans. Love and light. And we also ask for assistance from our star families, our guides, the ascended masters, the angelics of the highest love and light, to assist us in integrating these solar energies, assist us in healing, awakening, being in our heart spaces, seeing and knowing the truth, praying for discernment, The truth shall prevail. We are stronger together. Where we go one, we go all. I just heard in my head. And so it is. Sending much love to you guys. Give this video a like, a comment, share, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Take care.